to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Now, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us on this Wednesday, November the 5th, 2025. We're going to have we just came on just to say hi, good morning. Don't have much time for a full show this morning. Got a few medical things to take care of, and so timing is of the essence, but I did want to come on. The federal budget being released, there's all kinds of things being done around that. We're live on facebook.com/cybernews, youtube.com/cybernews each and every weekday morning, roughly between 7:30 and 8:30 a.m. This morning, maybe about 20-minute show. We'll just go through as much as we possibly can just to shed some light on a few points surrounding the budget, surrounding Canada, and, just make sure to share the good word of Sudbury News Talk from your social medias. Like it and share it and comment. We'll do our best to get your comments at least up on the screen this morning. A bit of a shout out to Billy, who's on his way to work at the moment, and wanted to, so many people expressed their love for Billy. Hasn't been on the show for a while, saying, "Where is Billy? We need Billy back." I tell him I don't know if he quite believes that or not. I don't think he could believe it. So if you want to put in the comments, everyone who wants to see Billy back, we can let him know that as well. I can pass the word on to him. And with that, we're just going to let you know that today it's going to be about 3 degrees. There's going to be periods of rain mixed with snow in the morning, and then ending this afternoon, then cloudy with a 40% chance of rain or flurries. Temperatures falling to +1 this afternoon. Tonight, -7 overnight, with a 30% chance of rain, showers, or flurries, changing to a 30% chance of flurries near midnight. So probably going to get some flurries today. And then tomorrow, 3 degrees is your high, +3, wind chill -13 in the morning. Yes, it will be very cold tomorrow morning. And then overnight, cloudy with a 60% chance of rain or flurries for those for the next 2 days. And the forecast going forward, just calling for a little bit more precipitation and, flurries. So just make sure to be prepared for anything out there, any type of weather. You just can't be prepared enough, right? So a couple of headlines here as we get people's comments up on the screen, everyone, and morning to everybody. And because it's a truncated morning, I just want to say good morning to everyone, feeling the love. Thank you for being on all the time. You guys make this show what it is. We're just facilitating a conversation. That's all we're doing. And you are definitely a main part of it. So thank you very much for being on, and make sure to comment. I'm going to get your comments up on the screen for this truncated version of Sudbury News Talk. Today's coming from the Sudbury Star, the federal government. It was federal budget day. After the Liberals tabled a federal budget with few surprises, all eyes turned to the opposition parties, right? And a floor crosser, Mark Carney's government's left with the short-term dilemma of surviving a confidence vote, which would happen as early as the middle of November. With nearly $80 billion in red ink, Carney racks up the largest ever non-pandemic deficit in the new federal budget. Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne said this budget marked a generational investment. A generational investment so that Canada could supercharge its economy. So we're going to be waiting to see what our return on this investment is going to be, right? The return on the investment, because that's what they're calling our deficit investment. They just kind of change the terminology so that it can trick you, is what they're doing. They're just going into debt is what they're doing. So let's just take one example, Stellantis, okay? So that was an investment. So we invested $15 billion into Stellantis, right? That was, let's just say the federal government is our financial advisors and they're taking our money, which they are, and they're investing it, which they are. And they invested it into Stellantis, which is supposed to be making batteries for electric cars. And Stellantis, after the $15 billion investment that we put into it, our government on our behalf put into it, they just took our money and left and went to the United States. So that was an example of a federal government investment with your money. So they're going to be making $80 billion more investment, kind of like that, with your money. So if you like that type of an investment, then you're going to be in favor of this government and their budget, right? So that's what they're doing. They're just going into debt. They're giving your money away most of the time. And there's example after example after example after example of them giving our money away to everyone and everybody, every country, for the most ridiculous things under the sun that you can imagine. And someone took the liberty of making a bit of a kind of a sitcom out of the situation, which it's not laughable, but either you laugh or you cry. So maybe we should choose to laugh at it as Canada sinks into oblivion. And Canada is going to be no more very soon. Here's an example.
Why is the only Liberal plan to spend?
Mr. Speaker, the Liberal plan is to invest.
It is time to invest in the future of our country. It has never been more appropriate to invest in the future of our country.
That's why our economic plan, it is really at its heart about investing in Canadians.
That's what we're proposing to Canadian, generational investment in our future, Madam Speaker.
We're not spending that amount of money, we're investing that amount of money.
Okay, right? So there you go. I'm probably going to get mad for copyright infringement. The music. But anyways, just a little humor going along with they're changing the going into in debt to investment. So the next time you go out and you want to buy a new guitar and your wife says, hey, you already have 7 guitars. Look, I'm investing our money in getting a guitar. And sometimes that could be true, depending if the guitar is going to retain its value or increase its value. But it's not investing. You're going into debt. You know, next time you buy a car, I'm just investing. I'm investing. We're going to go out on the town tonight. We're going to invest in our future. We're going to have a party. We're going to invest. You know, hey, how about our friends? Let's give them $20,000. We'll just invest. You know, it's not the way you talk. Investing is when you put it into some type of a fund that's going to yield a return. You don't just give your money away. This is all just giving our money away, and it's not investing in our future. They're putting it into companies which don't have anything in return. Here's an example. Here's just a dude explaining it.
Because I'm going to break it down for you in terms that everyone can understand. Let's start with this $78 billion deficit. That means we are indebting ourselves another $78 billion. Keep in mind, we are bringing in $408 billion in revenue through taxes and whatnot. But that's not enough to pay for everything, because we're spending $490 billion, having to take on $78 billion of debt. Now, why should you care? Because we're at a stage right now where debt servicing is $56 billion a year. That's just paying the interest. That's not paying down the debt. That's just paying the minimum balance on your credit card. But let's put it into like common terms, right? Let's say it's you, an individual, and you have an income of $100,000 a year. Well, if you're the Canadian government, you would spend $119,000 this year to to pay for shit you don't really need. So you'd have to borrow over $19,000 or 19% of your income. But wait, you're already $330,000 in debt. Already. So out of the $100,000 you earn and the $119,000 you're spending, you are paying over $13,000 in interest payments every fucking year. And again, that's just like the minimum payment on your credit card. You're not actually chipping away at your debt. And now this is why I'm saying that the budget right now is catastrophic.
Yeah, right. So, and I was hoping I could catch the F word in there. I know he said it several times in this clip, but I thought I could just play the part where he didn't use the language. But anyways, he did. I'm sorry. I should have gave a bit of a heads up that he might be using some colorful language in there. But yeah, so that's interesting. So you got the government investing, putting us $80 billion more in debt, and then that just tacks on to what we're already in debt. We're already paying billions and billions and billions of dollars just for the interest on the debt. And now we're going to add to that. And, you know, but we're hoping, some of us are, that there's going to be a non-confidence vote and we're going to go to an election, right? But hey, wait, there's more. That might not happen. Actually, the reverse might happen. Listen to this.
It looks like the Conservative Party may have a Judas within their ranks. He's considering joining the Liberal Party. This is the Nova Scotia Member of Parliament, Chris d'Entremont. He confirmed to Politico that he's thinking about crossing the floor and joining the Liberal Party. He said he's going to decide in a few days after reviewing the federal budget. What I don't understand is what the federal budget has to do with anything. Considering your constituents elected you to be their Conservative Member of Parliament. My friends, this is what political suicide looks like. If he decides to cross the floor and join the Liberal Party, he will forever be labeled as a traitor. The Conservatives will never like or trust him, and the Liberal Party will never trust a traitor. He will be utilized as a useful idiot to keep Mark Carney in power, but it gets worse. If he crosses the aisle and 2 more other MPs join, Mark Carney has a majority government. Chris did confirm that the Liberals have been courting other Conservatives who view themselves as centrists, but he would not disclose who they are. And apparently he had a falling out with his party because the Conservatives would not back him as the Speaker for the House of Commons. My suggestion to you all is to Google his name, find him on the House of Commons website, call his office, send him an email, let him know how you feel about his decision if he does so choose to move to the Liberal Party. I think Chris deserves honest feedback, and we should reach out to him and let him know we trust him and we elected him to be our Conservative representative. And now's the time to put the needs of Canadians ahead of our own needs and desires, including the desire to be the Speaker of the House. It looks like the Conservative...
So the whole thing to take away from this is we could see people crossing the floor here and the Liberals not only getting their budget passed, but getting a majority government. Can you imagine that? They get their majority government. So no election, budget's passed, and now they have a majority government. And you say, well, there's nothing wrong with that. I got my elbows up, man, and this is my team. This is my posse, man. These are my guys. This is what I voted for. I voted with my elbows, for crying out loud, you know? And let's see what your elbows got you so far. There's reasons why our country is tanking. It's not just tanking by accident. Like this budget, it's just basically putting a nail in our coffin. The Prime Minister, the Parliamentary Budget Officer says we got about a year before we're over the cliff. There's no return. We're done as a country financially. But you say to yourself, oh, but that's just because they're incompetent. Oh, that's not because they're incompetent, because it's been a plan all along.
As Canada's leaders torch our relationship with the United States and seek to reset relations with the Chinese Communist Party, it's easy to see Mark Carney's pivot as a matter of short-term politics, but viewed through the lens of journalist Sam Cooper's reporting for the Bureau and Dennis Molinaro's groundbreaking research, it becomes clear that this isn't a new strategy. It's the continuation of a decades-long operation that began when Pierre Trudeau was still an idealistic scholar and Mao Zedong was cementing his rule in China. In his book, Under Assault, Interference and Espionage in China's Secret War Against Canada, Molinaro reveals how Paul Lin, a University of British Columbia scholar turned agent of influence, became a trusted operative for Zhou Enlai, the Chinese premier who pioneered the Communist Party's United Front strategy. Lin's mission, RCMP files show, was simple but devastatingly effective. Cultivate Canadian elites, win over Pierre Trudeau, and break Canada from the orbit of the United States. Declassified intelligence records show that Lin was identified by the RCMP Security Service as an agent of influence, directly linked to the Central Committee of the Chinese Communist Party. His job wasn't espionage in the Hollywood sense, it was relationship building, ideology shaping, and talent spotting among Canada's academic and political class. In modern terms, he was Beijing's original influencer. China's goal was to use Canada as a wedge, a friend in America's backyard, as Mao himself is quoted as saying when Ottawa recognized the People's Republic of China in 1970. That recognition was the CCP's first successful foreign interference operation in the West. What began as ideological courtship soon evolved into a complex web of business and political ties that would stretch from Zhou Enlai's study in Beijing to the boardrooms of Power Corporation in Montreal. The RCMP's files went even further, tracing early cooperation between Chinese intelligence, organized crime, and the Toronto consulate, where officials allegedly helped forge passports for human traffickers and Chinese nationals. It was a sign that Canada had become both a testing ground and a gateway. Fast forward to 2016 when Justin Trudeau told the Canada-China Business Council that, quote, the success of the world is inexorably linked to China's success. He wasn't just repeating globalist talking points, he was speaking from within the ideological architecture that Paul Lin helped implant in Trudeau Sr.'s mind decades earlier. When you consider that Mark Carney approved Doug Ford's ad campaign, the one that abruptly derailed trade talks with the United States, and now hopes for a relations reset with the Chinese Communist Party, the pattern becomes unmistakable. This isn't an isolated misstep, it's the latest chapter in a 50-year story of political subversion. History, it seems, isn't just repeating, it's collecting dividends.
It's all right. So, and I would say, yeah, the federal government is investing. It's investing in our demise, investing in the end of Canada. So if you want an end to Canada, that's what they're investing in. And it's been going on for a long, long time. And it's not showing any sign of slowing. If anything, it's going for the jugular right now. And according to CSIS, they can prove it too. Like over time, they can prove it wasn't just Trudeau, and CSIS doesn't go as far back as Pierre Elliott Trudeau as Blender just did, but they'll at least go back far enough to the Chinese infiltration they say they have proof of, right? CSIS speaking.
To be very clear, we can prove that every federal government from Mr. Mulroney to Mr. Trudeau have been compromised by agents of the Communist China. Every government were informed at one point or another. Every government choose to ignore CSIS warning either by negligence, self-interest, or partisanship. Every government were infiltrated by agents of influence acting on behalf of the Chinese government, and we knew who they were. I want to be very clear. We can prove that every federal government from Mr. Mulroney to Mr. Trudeau have been compromised by agents of the Communist China.
There you go. Pretty simple statement there. I don't know why I put that on the bottom, but I will just change that. So, I could, if I just took a little bit of time, I could just make the best show connecting all the dots, the financial dots, the medical dots, the education dots. The infiltration is rampant in every sector, every industry that we have in Canada, right? And let's look at this. I remember in 2016, I believe, right, driving in my car, listening to CBC radio, and they said, oh yeah, no, Canada has no more gold reserves, by the way. And what does it take for a country to be self-reliant and, make sure that if we get into a little bit of trouble, we have something for a rainy day? Well, we don't have any gold reserves.
Where is all the gold in Canada? Where are the reserves? Canada has no more gold reserves at the Bank of Canada. Guess who sold some of those reserves, Madam Chair? The Prime Minister, when he was central bank governor. Guess who he sold them to? The UK. Interesting. Out of the top 52 countries that have gold reserves in the world, guess where Canada ranks? Not even on the list, Madam Chair, because we have 0. While other countries around the world have been piling up their gold reserves, Canada has been selling them all. The US, China, Poland, Turkey, the list goes on and on and on. And Canada has made the choice to sell its gold reserves. Thank you to the Prime Minister. Now, to the Prime Minister's defense, he's not the only central bank governor that's been selling Canada's gold. That's been going on for many years, but he continued it. But it's funny that he sold it to the country of which he then went to become that central bank governor. I guess he was okay to keep it when he was the central bank governor in the UK. They didn't sell their gold reserves.
Well, that's not a good thing. Like, come on, man. Like, one after the other. When is this going to change? We need to call an election.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. Anything can happen. But this is a well-orchestrated plan that's been in the planning for decades, if not more. And it's been it's a takeover. So it's a China takeover of Canada through people that we've elected and then other people have appointed to take down their own country, and they make a lot of money off of it. Like, they get their perks and whatever for being traitors to the country. There's so much evidence of foreign interference of people that we've elected that they won't release the names. Right? We know that. That's mainstream news, which mainstream news covers very little of this kind of stuff. But we know that, and who's been infiltrated and by whom. You know, they won't release those names. There's a reason for it. It's all well orchestrated. It's been through our university system. Marxism has been taught in our universities for decades. It's in the financial sector. All of our gold has been sold off. We're going into massive amounts of debt that we're not going to be able to get out of. It's in our medical. We're going to need doctors' prescriptions to take vitamins in the next couple of years, for crying out loud. It's everything's backwards, but it's all by design. Fentanyl. Where do you think fentanyl comes from? Right? Crime. Who do you think's buying all the housing? Who's driving up housing rates? Right? It all comes back to the same characters. And it is what it is. We either wake up to it, at least acknowledge it. It's all you can do. And it's pretty much near the end of the plan, by the way. So I'm not sure what can be done at this point. What are you going to do when you have no gold reserves in a country? Like, what do you do to rectify that when other countries have billions, if not trillions of dollars in gold reserves? And now look at the price of gold. If you were to buy gold now, you sold it at bargain basement prices, you'd have to buy it at hugely inflated prices. Like, like, there's so many nails in our coffin. There's nails all over the place. So this budget is just a small reminder of the position that we're in as a country. Is what it is. It's all the time we got for the show today. Earshot Daily is going to be coming on at 8:30, and I got to head out now and take a drive to our healthcare facility, our hospital, and hopefully we can have some good service there. I haven't been all that impressed, but I always pray that we'll get good people and we'll be able to have some kind of good result. So thanks for being on, everyone. Today, we'll see you same time, same place on the same platforms, God willing, tomorrow. And remember to stay aware, like, share, take care, and keep the faith. Have a great day. Ciao for now.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.